So what we're seeing is India is moving and all forms of payment are growing, and pretty much similar to the way it is, but probably the scale abroad, since it started earlier, is higher.
Sujatha, I mean, the government is pushing for cashless payments. This has been happening for the past 1.5 to 2 years
2 years,
now.
yes.
And what impact has that had on Visa? Do you see the base in terms of consumers becoming younger? What are the changes in the sort of insight and that you have from that?
So yes, ever since demonetization happened, there has been a lot of move towards non-cash methods of payment. The interesting thing to see is that credit cards, if you look at it, it's not a luxury, it's a necessity. And therefore, what they end up doing is being a unifier. So we don't have any one specific target group. We actually look at a group what we call as ageless progressive. So they could be at any age, but you are progressive in mindset, you're open to technology, you're open to using new forms of payment, new ways of shopping, new ways of travel. If you have that open mindset, then you are more likely to adopt these new forms of payment, shopping, travel, etc. So that's what we look at, and we wouldn't definitely limit it to a specific age group, because like we said, this is something that affects everybody. And as we move to more and more less of a cash society, everyone will have a need for a product like ours.
Digital wallets have suddenly become big. They've
Yes.
grown. A lot of young people have adopted digital wallets. How does that work for the credit card industry? How do you work with that ecosystem? Is there some sort of a seamless
Yes.
interaction there?
So what is important to realize is Visa is not just credit card. Okay, Visa is a form of payment. It's present in your credit card you hold, but it's also there on all the online transactions. So you're right, since demonetization happened, a lot of new forms of payments have come up, whether it's mobile wallets, whether it's online tokenization, whether it's credit cards. Everything has seen a
UPI,
growth.
yeah.
UPI, everything has seen a growth, and Visa, with its different form factors and its technology, is staying ahead and managing to be a part of all of that in a relevant way.
And is the experience the same in India versus global? What are the top global trends in the cashless payment space that you see? And are we going to see something interesting in the next few years that is sort of already taking place in other markets?
Yes, absolutely. So we are starting our journey. We actually started about a couple of years ago, I think, with demonetization. And abroad, it's already a much less cash society. So for example, we have our Tap to Pay, which is the contactless Visa card, which allows transactions up to 2,000 rupees in less than 3 seconds. We're getting there, but if you look at markets such as Singapore or Australia, they're in very, very high double digits on percentage of people using that. So what we're seeing is India is moving and all forms of payment are growing, and pretty much similar to the way it is, but probably the scale abroad, since it started earlier, is higher.
What is the current penetration of credit cards in India? Maybe I mean, however you take that number as maybe a percentage of the PAN base that is there in India. What is the number today?
Well, so today, credit cards is growing. What we've seen is there is a much larger number of debit cards, because everyone who has an account gets a debit card, and you have to separately apply for credit cards. So it's a fraction of the number of debit cards that are there in the market. So there are over 900 million debit cards in issuance, while there is less than 50 million credit cards.
And has the growth rate picked up over
It's
the past?
picked up, but what's interesting to note is the spending on credit cards is very high, because a lot of people are still using their debit cards as ATM withdrawal, which is what they originally looked at. So there's a huge growth that's being seen on credit card spends.
How, as Visa, are you looking to address issues of security, issues of a prudent use? Because the way you use a credit card is something that needs to be understood, and it can go wrong very easily, right? I mean, there are many stories out there. So how is that being sort of also communicated? Because there's a responsibility angle there as well.
No, so absolutely. Credit cards is a very, very safe and secure way to pay. And at Visa, we make sure that every transaction is encrypted, secure, and safe. But you're right, a lot of time the customers don't know that. So a lot of effort is going into educating consumers at the same. In India, you have for larger amounts, you have two-factor authorization, whether it's for the CVV, whether it's for the OTP/PIN that we have. Even in our contactless payments for amounts less than 2,000, there is an encryption, there is a security that's taken care of. So to ensure that customers are aware that this is the safest way to pay.
So what role does digital play in your overall marketing mix? Of course, Visa is a brand driven
Yes.
digitally, but in terms of your marketing, what role
Yeah.
does it play? Is it storytelling? Is it, sorry, is it just driving demand for new customers?
So digital is a huge part. We call ourselves digital-led marketers, and that's because each and every person who uses our product is different. So there's not a one-size-fits-all. So obviously there is a blend of traditional and digital marketing, because for something as basic as consumer education, it needs to be given to everybody. Or for example, for campaigns such as contactless, to make people aware that they can tap to pay without any OTP or PIN up to 2,000 rupees. That's something that's relevant for everybody. So you would resort a lot to traditional media. But for a lot of offer-based promotions, we also do a lot of cross-border transactions. So it's important to target the right consumer who's traveling in the next 30 days, who's traveling in the next 30 to 60 days, right, who's traveling post 60 days. So we use a lot of programmatic, we use a lot of target-led digital marketing.
Are you also reading my emails to know if I'm traveling and then accordingly
No, we don't have any such access. But what we do get is information sources as who's going to be traveling when through different websites, and we use that to ideally target the right people with the right offers. So net, yes, digital plays a very, very big part of our marketing.